You're standing in the room. The powerful are here. Investors, executives, those who move markets with their words, and you're invisible. Not because you lack credentials, not because you're unworthy. You're invisible because you reek of need. They smell it on you the way wolves smell fear. You approach with your rehearsed pitch, your desperate smile, your carefully crafted small talk, and their eyes glaze over before you finish your second sentence. You tell yourself it's networking. You tell yourself you're building relationships. You're doing neither. You're begging. And powerful people don't befriend beggars. They step over them. This is your reality, and you've been taught to accept it. Smile more. Provide value first. Be genuine. Show enthusiasm. All the advice you've consumed has turned you into a performing monkey, dancing for scraps of attention from those who hold the keys to the kingdoms you want to enter. And here's the truth that will cut you. It's working exactly as designed. The system wants you begging. It wants you grateful for crumbs. It wants you believing that humility and persistence are the paths to power, because humble, persistent people are easy to ignore. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something 5 centuries ago that you're only beginning to grasp now. Power recognizes power, and nothing else. The Prince wasn't written for princes. It was written for those who would become princes, for those willing to see past the comfortable lies society tells about virtue and merit and fairness. Machiavelli knew that the powerful don't connect with the worthy. They connect with the useful, the formidable, the inevitable. And if you want to stand in their circles, you must stop asking for permission to exist there. Let's diagnose your disease. You were taught that relationships with powerful people are earned through demonstration of value. Work hard, be nice, show them what you can do, and eventually they'll notice you. This is the lie that keeps you powerless, because while you're demonstrating value, trying to prove yourself, seeking validation, you've already established the frame. You are below them, looking up, hoping they'll throw you a rope. Every networking event you attend with that energy, every cold email where you lead with admiration, every conversation where you position yourself as the student, hoping to learn from the master, you're not building bridges to power. You're digging the moat deeper. The powerful don't want more students. They don't want more admirers. They're drowning in both. What they want are equals, conspirators, those rare individuals who enter a room and shift its gravity. You've been conditioned to believe that access to power comes through channels, applications, introductions, credentials, proving grounds. These channels exist for a reason, to filter you out. They're the maze the powerful build to ensure only those who think like them find the center. And you've been running that maze your entire life, collecting degrees, titles, achievements, thinking each one brings you closer. It doesn't. It makes you more qualified to be someone's employee, not their peer. Here's what they don't tell you in business school. Powerful people don't connect through merit systems. They connect through recognition. One sovereign recognizes another. One predator acknowledges another predator's territory. The connection happens in an instant, a moment of mutual understanding that bypasses all the formal structures entirely. And you're not being recognized because you're still pretending to play by rules that don't exist at that level. The advice you've followed has domesticated you. Be helpful, be humble, be grateful. Add value without expecting return. This is servant conditioning dressed up as professional development. Yes, you should be capable. Yes, you should deliver excellence. But if you lead with service, if you establish yourself as the one who gives while they take, you've already lost the game. You're not building a relationship with power. You're auditioning for the role of useful tool. Machiavelli wrote The Prince in 1513, but he might as well have written it yesterday. Power has not changed. Human nature has not evolved. The dynamics that governed Renaissance Italy govern your boardrooms and backrooms today. And what Machiavelli understood, what he was condemned for understanding, is that power operates on laws that have nothing to do with justice, fairness, or virtue. The central insight: those who hold power got it through force, cunning, or inheritance, not through being good people who followed the rules. And they keep it through the same means. This makes them dangerous to approach if you're still thinking like a civilian. But it also makes them predictable, readable, accessible, if you learn to think like them. When Machiavelli advised the prince, he wasn't teaching villainy. He was teaching survival in a world where power is the only currency that matters, where being loved is less important than being feared, where appearing virtuous is more valuable than being virtuous, where loyalty is purchased, not inspired. You recoil from this because you've been taught to, but your revulsion is what keeps you powerless. Powerful people already know these truths. They live by them. They just don't say them out loud in public, because the system requires the masses to believe in merit and fairness, while the elite operate on entirely different principles. When you approach them with your earnest belief in playing fair, they see a child. When you approach them understanding the real game, they see someone worth talking to. The frame is everything. The moment you position yourself as beneath someone, seeking their wisdom or favor, you've established a relationship of supplication. They are the master, you are the petitioner. This frame, once set, cannot be changed. You cannot begin as the student and later become the peer. The powerful will relate to you forever through that initial frame. When you meet power, you must meet it at eye level. This doesn't mean pretending to be more accomplished than you are. That's transparent and pathetic. It means operating from the assumption that you belong in the conversation. You're not there to learn from them. You're not there to get something from them. You're there because you're a player on the same board, perhaps playing a different position, but a player nonetheless. This requires you to murder the part of yourself that seeks approval. That part is a cancer. It will kill every relationship with power before it begins. You must approach as someone with your own kingdom, your own agenda, your own source of power, even if that kingdom is currently small, especially if it's small, because kingdoms grow and powerful people invest in kingdoms, not in courtiers. Law 2. Create scarcity before seeking access. You want to connect with powerful people, so you make yourself available. You respond immediately to any opportunity. You're flexible, accommodating, grateful for any time they give you. This is how you train them to ignore you. Abundance has no value. What's freely available is worth exactly what it costs. The powerful operate in worlds of scarcity. Their time is scarce. Their attention is scarce. The opportunities they control are scarce. They respect scarcity because it's the reality they live in. When you make yourself abundant, always available, always accommodating, you're speaking a language they don't understand. Or rather, they understand it perfectly. You're desperate, which means you're weak, which means you don't matter. Before you seek connection with power, you must create artificial scarcity around yourself. You must have something, a skill, a network, a resource, a following, that others want and cannot easily obtain. This doesn't mean playing hard to get through scheduling games. It means building something real that creates genuine demand. When powerful people hear your name and feel a twinge of, "I should know that person," you're ready. Not before. Law 3. Bring news, not requests. Most people approach power with their hand out. They want advice, introductions, investment, opportunities. Even when they pretend otherwise, the ask hangs in the air like smoke. Powerful people can smell it instantly, and it repels them the way weak old fish repels dinner guests. You think you're networking, they know you're begging. The powerful are information hubs. They collect intelligence about markets, about people, about opportunities, about threats. This is how they stay powerful. What they value most is not your admiration or your need, but your ability to bring them information they don't have. News they can use, intelligence that shifts their understanding of the landscape. When you approach power, you must bring information, not requests. Tell them something they don't know about their industry. Introduce them to a person they should know but don't. Alert them to an opportunity or threat on their horizon. Make the conversation about what you're giving them, not what you want from them. This inverts the power dynamic instantly. You're no longer the petitioner, you're the intelligence asset, and intelligence assets get access. Law 4. Study their enemies. You want to connect with a powerful person, so you study them. You read their interviews, analyze their companies, understand their philosophy. This is what everyone does. This makes you indistinguishable from the crowd of admirers and sycophants they're already ignoring. If you want to matter to the powerful, don't study them. Study their enemies. Every person with power has adversaries. Competitors who want to destroy them. Regulators who want to constrain them. Internal rivals who want to replace them. Former allies who became enemies. These adversaries occupy vast territories in the minds of the powerful. They think about them constantly, strategize against them, lose sleep over them, and almost no one approaching them understands this landscape. When you arrive with deep knowledge of their competitive environment, their threats, their enemies' strategies, you've immediately separated yourself from every other person seeking their attention. You're not another fan. You're a potential ally in the wars that actually matter to them. You're thinking about what they're thinking about. This creates instant resonance. You're speaking their language, fighting their battles, seeing their world from their perspective. This is the foundation of all real connection with power. Law 5. Demonstrate sovereignty. Sovereignty means you answer to no one. You have your own domain, your own rules, your own source of power. You are not an employee of the universe waiting for permission to act. You are a force that moves according to its own will. Without sovereignty, you cannot connect with the powerful as anything other than a subject to their throne. The powerful can smell employees from across the room. Not people with jobs, everyone has obligations, but people with employee mindsets, people who need permission, people who wait for orders, people who follow scripts. These people are useful, but they're never peers. They're tools, and tools don't get invited to the strategy sessions where real power is wielded. Before you seek connection with power, you must establish your own sovereignty, however small. This might be a business you control, a newsletter with dedicated readers, a skill so refined that you alone can deliver it, a reputation that precedes you, something that says, I am a kingdom of one. I operate on my own authority. I'm here to discuss alliances between equals, not to audition for a job. Without this, you're wasting everyone's time. Law 6. Never explain, never apologize. The moment you explain yourself, you've submitted to judgment. The moment you apologize for taking up someone's time, for having ambitions, for existing in their space, you've announced that you don't belong there. The powerful don't explain. They don't apologize. They act, and they let their actions create their own context. You walk into a room with powerful people, and your instinct is to justify your presence, to explain how you got there, to apologize for not being more accomplished, to preemptively defend yourself against the judgment you imagine they're making. Every word of explanation is another shovel of dirt in your grave. It broadcasts insecurity. It invites them to question what you're doing there. It transforms you from peer to interloper. Adopt the posture of assumed belonging. You're in the room because you're supposed to be in the room. You're having the conversation because it's a conversation worth having. You're taking their time because your presence has value. You don't need to explain this. You don't need to justify it. The powerful respect those who act from unquestioned authority because that's how they themselves operate. When you explain, you're revealing that you don't actually believe you belong, and if you don't believe it, they certainly won't. Law 7. Master. The art of indifference. Nothing makes you more attractive to power than not needing it. The desperate cannot connect with the powerful because desperation creates a stench that repels everything it touches. You need their investment, their introduction, their approval, and that need makes you worthless to them. The powerful collect those who don't need them, because only those people are capable of true loyalty and valuable alliance. This seems impossible. You do need them. You need what they control. This is why you're seeking the connection in the first place. But need and neediness are not the same thing. You can need resources while remaining indifferent to whether any particular person provides them. This indifference, genuine indifference, not performed disinterest, is magnetic to power. Cultivate other options. Always be building alternative paths to your goals. Make it so that any single powerful person is an opportunity, not the opportunity. This isn't a negotiating tactic, it's existential reality. When you truly have options, when you genuinely could walk away and be fine, you carry yourself differently, you speak differently, you make requests as invitations rather than pleas, and the powerful notice. They always notice. Law 8. Create situations, don't ask for them. The weak ask for opportunities. The sovereign creates situations where power has reasons to engage with them. This is the difference between begging for an introduction and engineering an environment where the introduction becomes inevitable. Between asking for a meeting and creating circumstances where not meeting would be the unusual choice. Think like an architect of circumstances. What events, gatherings, projects, or initiatives could you create that would naturally attract the powerful people you want to connect with? What would make them want to be in the room? This requires actual work. Real value creation, real community building, real opportunity crafting. But it transforms you from someone seeking access to someone granting it. When you control the situation, you control the frame. You're not entering their territory as a supplicant. They're entering yours as participants. The power dynamic shifts entirely. You're not asking for their time, you're including them in something valuable. This is how the sovereign operates. Not by seeking admission to existing circles of power, but by creating new circles that power wants to enter. Law 9. Traffic in secrets. Information is power, but public information is commodity. What separates those with power from those without is access to information that others don't have. Secrets. Not scandals, though sometimes those too, but proprietary knowledge, insider perspectives, strategic intelligence that hasn't reached the broader market yet. When you traffic in secrets, you become valuable to power. Develop sources. Become the person who knows things before others know them. This might mean cultivating relationships with people inside important organizations. It might mean developing analytical frameworks that let you see patterns before they're obvious. It might mean being in rooms where unguarded conversations happen. Whatever the method, you must become someone who possesses knowledge that others want. When you share secrets with the powerful, carefully, strategically, proving that you can be trusted with sensitive information, you're not giving away your advantage. You're demonstrating that you operate at the same level they do, that you have your own intelligence networks, that you're someone who needs to be kept close rather than kept out. Secrets are the currency of the inner circle. Start trading in them. Law 10. Display strength, not potential. The powerless speak in futures. I'm going to build. I'm planning to. This is the language of potential, and potential is worthless. The powerful speak in presence. I am. I control. I've done. This is the language of strength, and strength is the only language power understands. Stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop asking powerful people to believe in your vision. They don't care about your vision. They care about your track record, your resources, your current capabilities. Show them what you've already built, even if it's small. Show them problems you've already solved. Show them that you operate in reality, not fantasy. This means you must build before you seek the connection. You must have victories to point to. You must have evidence that you're capable of execution, not just imagination. The powerful are drowning in people with ideas. They're starving for people with results. Be the latter, and the connection becomes inevitable. Be the former, and you'll spend your life knocking on doors that never open. Law 11. Embrace conflict, not harmony. You think powerful people want pleasant interactions, agreeable conversations, smooth relationships. You're wrong. The powerful are bored to death by yes men and harmony seekers. They're surrounded by people too afraid to disagree, too eager to please, too invested in being liked. What they're starving for is someone who will challenge them, conflict with them, force them to sharpen their thinking. When you disagree with power, not from ego, not from contrarianism, but from genuine conviction and superior analysis, you do something magical. You treat them like an intellectual equal. You signal that you're not there to worship, but to engage. This is rare. This is valuable. This is memorable. Most people are too terrified to conflict with the powerful, which means those who can do it effectively stand out instantly. Master the art of productive conflict. Learn to disagree in ways that demonstrate your thinking rather than your ego. Challenge their assumptions with better data. Poke holes in their logic with superior reasoning. Make them work to defend their positions. If you're right, you'll earn their respect. If you're wrong, but argued well, you'll still earn their respect. Only if you're boring will you be forgotten, and agreement is always boring. Law. 12. Operate on long-time horizons. You want quick wins, fast connections, immediate results. This need for speed marks you as someone who doesn't understand power. Power thinks in decades. Power plays long games. Power builds slowly and accumulates quietly. When you approach with short-term thinking, you're announcing that you're not serious. The connection you want with powerful people isn't transactional. It's not about getting one thing from one interaction. It's about becoming part of their landscape over time. About being present at enough moments that your name becomes familiar. About delivering enough value in enough situations that you become someone they think to call. This takes years, not months. It takes patience you probably don't have. Adopt a timeline that makes you seem insane to normal people. Plan in 5-year blocks. Make moves that won't pay off until long after your peers have given up and moved on. This long-term thinking does two things. It lets you build real foundations instead of quick facades, and it signals to power that you're playing the same game they are. Short-term thinking is for employees. Long-term thinking is for empire builders. Choose your timeline accordingly. Law 13. Make them need you. All the other laws build to this. Everything you've learned, every way you've transformed yourself, culminates here. You must make yourself indispensable. Not by being useful, usefulness is common. Not by being helpful, anyone can help. You must position yourself so that powerful people need you specifically, need what only you can provide, need access to your resources and networks and capabilities. This is the final evolution. You stop being someone who wants connection with power and become someone power wants connection with. The entire game inverts. Your phone rings with calls from people who used to ignore you. Your inbox fills with requests from people who used to be unreachable. Not because you became more accomplished, though you did. Not because you became more connected, though you did. Because you became necessary. Creating this necessity requires all 13 laws working in concert. You enter as equal, scarce, bringing news, understanding enemies, demonstrating sovereignty, never explaining, showing indifference, creating situations, trafficking secrets, displaying strength, embracing conflict, operating long-term. All of it builds a profile of someone who cannot be ignored, someone dangerous to ignore, someone who costs more to exclude than to include. When you reach this point, you don't connect with powerful people. They connect with you. The transformation. Understand what you're becoming. This path doesn't make you a better person by conventional metrics. It makes you a more powerful person. It makes you someone who can operate in rooms where real decisions are made. It makes you someone the powerful recognize as their own. But it requires killing parts of yourself that society told you were virtues. Your need for approval must die. Your desire to be liked must die. Your belief in fairness must die. Your faith in meritocracy must die. These are not virtues, they're chains. They keep you domesticated, controllable, harmless. The powerful shed these chains early, or they never become powerful in the first place. You're just late to the shedding. What replaces these dead virtues? Sovereignty, the bone-deep knowledge that you answer to no one. strategy, the ability to see 3 moves ahead while others are still reacting to the last one. Ruthlessness, not cruelty. Cruelty is weak, but the willingness to make hard decisions that advance your position. Patience, the calm certainty that your long game will outlast everyone else's short game. You'll lose friends in this transformation. People who liked you when you were harmless will become uncomfortable when you become dangerous. They'll accuse you of changing, of becoming cold, of losing your humanity. They're right about the first, wrong about the rest. You're not losing your humanity. You're shedding the domestication that passed for humanity. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming clear. The powerful will notice this transformation before you complete it. They have radar for it. They can spot someone on the path even when that person is still early in the journey, and they'll begin to treat you differently, not warmly perhaps, but seriously. They'll return your calls, they'll take your meetings, they'll include you in conversations, not because they like you, but because they recognize you. One predator acknowledging another. This is not a comfortable process. There will be moments when you question whether it's worth it, when the old ways seem easier, safer, more human. These moments are tests. The powerful face them too. Everyone on this path faces them. What separates those who reach power from those who turn back is simple. The latter blinks. The former doesn't. The warning: I'm not going to lie to you and tell you this path is for everyone. It's not. Most people are not built for this. Most people would rather be comfortable than powerful, would rather be liked than feared, would rather be good than effective. There's no shame in this. The world needs both, those who hold power and those who live peacefully outside its grip. But if you're still reading, you're not most people. Something in you hungers for this. You've tasted the frustration of being shut out from rooms where decisions are made. You've felt the rage of watching less capable people succeed because they understood games you didn't know were being played. You've sensed that there's a different operating system running in the background of the world, and you've been excluded from it. This path will cost you. It will cost you illusions you're comfortable with. It will cost you relationships built on your weakness. It will cost you the easy moral certainty of believing the world operates on merit and justice. It will cost you sleep as you plan 5 years ahead while others plan 5 days ahead. It will cost you the warm feeling of being surrounded by people who love you for being harmless. What you gain in return is power, real power. Not the fantasy of power that comes from promotions and titles. Not the simulation of power that comes from large followings and social validation. Actual power. The ability to make things happen through will alone. The ability to walk into any room and shift its gravity. The ability to have powerful people take your calls because not taking them would be foolish. You're at a decision point. You can close this, go back to doing what you've been doing, keep believing that playing nice and working hard will eventually get you access to power. Some people reading this will do exactly that. They'll feel briefly uncomfortable, then return to their comfortable illusions. The world will continue on exactly as before for them. Or you can accept that everything you've been told about how to connect with powerful people is designed to keep you away from them. You can begin the work of transformation. You can start applying these laws, testing them, proving them in your own life. You can begin the long journey from supplicant to sovereign. The commitment. If you've made it this far, you already know what you're going to choose. Something in these words resonated with you because it articulated truths you already sensed but couldn't name. You've been feeling the bars of your cage for years. Now someone's shown you where the lock is. This is not entertainment. This is not content to consume passively while you wait for your life to magically improve. This is a transmission of operational principles that work in the real world, that powerful people actually use, that will transform your relationship to power if you implement them. But only if you implement them. Subscribe if you're ready to receive more of this. Not because you enjoy the content, though perhaps you do, but because you're committing to the transformation. because you're declaring that you're done being invisible to power, done being shut out of rooms that matter, done accepting the scraps that fall from other people's tables, because you understand that power is not given, it's taken by those willing to pay its price. The next transmission will go deeper. We'll explore how to weaponize your weaknesses, how to turn your obscurity into leverage, how to make your first real power move without resources, but only for those who are serious, only for those willing to do the work, only for those who understand that connecting with powerful people isn't about networking, it's about becoming powerful yourself. The choice is yours. Stay comfortable or become dangerous. Stay liked or become respected. Stay safe or become sovereign. Most will choose the former. The few who choose the latter will find that the world opens for them in ways they never imagined possible. Welcome to the path. It only gets darker and more powerful from here.